Hi, I'm Hazel, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the state of professions on the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, specifically looking at what is this profession squish that's happening and what does it mean. So as you may have heard rumors of, there is going to be a profession squish in Battle for Azeroth, and the air quotes are very important because in my opinion a squish is not exactly the right word for it. I would say that it's more of a profession restructuring. Big disclaimer before we get started, Alpha is Alpha, and we may see a ton of change on professions before they go live. We are almost certainly going to see some amount of change because they're pretty clearly not done yet, so keep in mind this is an early BfA Alpha preview. The first thing to note, and the reason why I'm hesitant to call these changes a squish, is that there is still an overall profession level, and on the BfA Alpha right now, that still goes all the way up to 800. That overall profession skill that goes all the way up to 800 influences which recipes that you're able to learn at your profession trainer. That may change. Based on everything else that we know, I would say that that's going to probably change, but again, this is Alpha and we'll see. The big new feature here is that each profession has had its recipes broken down into different expansion skill levels. For example, Pandaria Tailoring, Cataclysm Engineering, Outland Blacksmithing, you get the idea. Each of those skills has a 1 to 100 skill rating. In order to learn the recipe or schematic for a given crafted item, you will need its expansion-specific skill, but not necessarily the overarching profession skill. For example, for the Quad Deathblow X44 engineering goggles, you will need Outland Engineering 50. For another example, if you wanted to learn the Engineer Jard's recipe book from Pandaria, you would need Pandaria Engineering 50, but you would not need to bother with BC, Wrath, or Kata Engineering. Now, at this point on the Alpha, the trainer recipes do not function like this and do require that overarching skill. That's the thing that I am expecting to see changed, but again, we don't know yet. I would say it's very likely that if you already had a profession skill maxed out on live, when BfA launches you will have those expansion-specific skills maxed out as well. Now, we can't test that yet because right now there's no way to copy a live character onto the alpha, but I would say it's pretty likely. The next thing to know is that items with skill requirement restrictions such as engineering goggles have had those requirements updated similarly. In order to use your Cataclysm Engineering goggles, you will need your Cataclysm Engineering skill, but not necessarily engineering skill from BC or Wrath. Right now on Alpha, it looks like the tailoring carpets do require you to have tailoring trained, but don't require any specific tailoring skill in any category in order to use, but the engineering flying machine is giving you a mysterious "you cannot use that mount" error message when you try to use that, even when you have engineering trained, so it's hard to say what exactly those requirements are going to be. It's likely that they're either going to be A, like the tailoring ones work now, where as long as you have the profession you can use the mount, or B, like the goggle requirements where you needed to have that specific expansion skill in order to use it. Now, there are still a variety of items that require that overall profession skill rather than the expansion specific ones. If this is still very much alpha, those may get updated, or maybe for some things you will just need to have your overall skill leveled up. While we're talking about professions, it looks like first aid is being deleted, for lack of a better word. The first aid related achievements have been made legacy achievements, and tailors will now be able to craft bandages. So buy first aid. For me, that was always the one secondary profession that I could just never get myself to do, so I'm not mad. While I was poking around and looking at professions, I did take a look at gathering professions, and right now in Alpha they're pretty broken, and I wouldn't really expect them to be too affected by this squish. Blizzard seems to be pretty happy with the current design of gathering professions that we've been using in Legion, where for example for herbalism you can gather any herb that you want, but if your skill is not sufficient you're just going to get broken bits that you can then chunk together and pretend that's a flower. It's possible that the gathering professions are going to get this same restructuring treatment, but it has not happened on Alpha yet, and honestly I wouldn't count on it. At this time on Alpha, Archaeology is untrainable, you just cannot pick it up, so we don't know too much about that just yet. Fishing, on the other hand, is trainable and does work, but I was catching silver mackerel and black barracuda while in Drustvar, so clearly there's still some work to be done there. Cooking, of course, is technically a crafting profession, and it is receiving that same restructuring treatment. So what does it all mean, and why did they do this? Basically, it means that in order to craft the latest expansion stuff, you no longer have to bother with all of the stuff from past expansions. All of those old recipes are still there and they still exist, they've just been tucked away into nice little tabs for the completionists and the gold makers. And that is what we know right now. Thank you so much for watching, please share what you think about the new profession changes in the comments below this video, and of course don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to keep up with the latest BfA Alpha videos coming from me. I'll see you soon, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!